All right, good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Atchison County Commission meeting for Tuesday, December 16th. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and would our county clerk provide roll call?
Commissioner Quinn,
Present.
Commissioner Knoll,
Here.
Commissioner Campbell.
Here.
Thank you for that. We do not have an invocation scheduled today, so if you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, public comment? Seeing none. I have one addition to the agenda today, which is a contract with Ham Companies and their new owner. So I will add that to our agenda. With that being said, I would look for a motion to approve this week's agenda.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye, passes 3-0. For our consent agenda, we have two sets of minutes from our last regular county commission meeting from December 2nd, and then also the meeting minutes from our special meeting with the representatives of the NRP program on December 11th. And then we have the finance director review.
Morning.
Morning.
So we did not have the commission meeting last week, so we had two sets of expenses. The first accounts payable expense for Wednesday, December 10th was $159,860.61, with credit cards being $1,465.65. Then this week's expenses, we had payroll for Friday of $190,510.84, and then accounts payable for Wednesday, December 17th for $315,728.22, with credit cards being $1,321.54, and there's no negative cash balances on either run.
Okay, thank you, Mark. With that, I would look for a motion to approve this week's consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. I'll get a handwrite in and have his initial 6 years for the $70 million. That the appraiser had found in us.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to put that.
That's
It
okay.
was 6 years.
Yep,
7 million.
yeah, so.
I can also reprint it.
Okay.
Correct, and have you guys.
Perfect. All right, commissioner comments, Commissioner Campbell.
Last week I attended the K.A.C. annual conference, which it gives county department heads and commissioners the chance to collaborate with other county officials and department heads. So it's a good forum for that. Get a lot of ideas. I plan to share some ideas here when we get a chance. We're busy right now, but productive conference, very good conference. Tomorrow I will have a economic development advisory board meeting, and then Thursday a county safety meeting.
Commissioner Knoll.
I had a project concern meeting Wednesday. They didn't have a quorum, so we didn't get a lot of things done, or we didn't have a chance to vote on it. We are in the process of doing that electronically, so the MOU, we won't be able to work on that today or accept it. Two of the representatives resigned. The ones that are representative, the Effingham branch, Pearl and I can't think of Ruth, both. And there was no contentious or anything. They just said it's time for new representation that had been on for a long time. I hadn't really thought of it because I hadn't been on this board very long. Do we look for people to go on there, or do they?
They would do it. They're their own entity.
They're okay. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I was just sitting here thinking, well, do we need to?
Yeah, and I'm not sure how their bylaws read, if it's just countywide or if they need representation from certain areas, or I don't know what that looks like.
It almost feels like they were representatives from that area, that was like they're assigned or they were to be just for that area, but I'm not for sure on the makeup of that.
I would hope they reach out to that,
Oh.
from that area.
Town and country,
Yeah.
what their is or ask the time.
Okay. Thank you. Last Wednesday I had a chamber board meeting, and then all of the players that are stakeholders in the NRP. We had our special meeting last Thursday evening, which was very good. We walked away with kind of a agreement on where everybody stands, that we can move forward together. And then Sunday, the 7th, was the annual Farm Bureau banquet in Manhattan. And so I joined a group of panelists there for a discussion on the importance of getting people engaged and at the table and paying attention to local government policy. So that was really good. It's been a busy couple weeks, but good couple weeks. So that leading into our new business. The first thing we have is we would like to welcome Dr. Alan Rivas, our Kansas House Representative. He is here this morning to visit with us. Come on up to this right here is good.
I like that big mic. How you doing? I like Mark's deep voice today.
Sick.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good.
So did y'all get my homework I sent you?
I did.
All right.
Yep.
So let me talk about that first, and then I've got some other things we can talk about. Do you have any questions for me before I start? So I've had multiple conversations and meetings with K.S.A. K.S.A. was at one of them out here at the shop. We basically, my opinion is we've been kind of the redheaded stepchild up here in the corner, and we have to kind of go, hey, we're over here, we need some help. And we have a new district engineer for the last several months, Wes Moore. He's a super nice man. Don Hughes, retired state patrol, now works for we get the right acronym, but it's basically the safety office they work with the KDOT as far as determining if there's a complaint or a problem with the roadway, what are the safety concerns, what are improvements to do. So I've been working with them, had a couple of meetings. They've been up here, they've been up to Wathena to meet the people. So in the process of doing all that, I also talked to Calvin Reed, the KDOT secretary. There's two different areas here. One's county roads and bridges. To find a way to improve more funding for those and find ways to get help on some of those. And it's a bigger problem in this eastern part. Actually, it's really the northeast and the southeast that have more of the bridge issues. Out west is not as big a deal, but out there it's more highway issues. So just trying to get them to see the increased need in our county versus like another county would have. So that awareness is there. They're aware of it. They're looking at things. Things move slow, but at least we've got them on the map. And I've talked to other representatives and senators, and they've also been kind of poking the same idea about getting more help with the county roads and bridges. Now, I said, if you got to focus on bridges. Well, we'll deal with roads. Get us these bridges where we need them. So I don't know how fast things will happen, probably very slowly, but at least we're on the radar. Okay. The other issue was just different road and highway improvements. So the one page I gave you just is the list of concerns I gave to them. So I met with some folks in Donovan County and down here as well, and rode in a grain truck one day and hauled some grain in and rode on some roads that were very interesting, and saw some of the challenges that they face with that. So So this is the top list I gave them, and there's some of these they've already addressed a little bit. 116 intersection out there, they went ahead and did a little widening of the shoulder. They did little improvements out there. That's not the final improvement, but that was a temporary thing, make it a little bit better. So just want you to know that that's going on. The reason I bring all this up is they have what's called the local consult every 2 years. And what that is in each region, which you look on your maps here, one of these shows all the different regions, but we're District 1. That's all it matters for us. I think there's 8, but if you look at where we're located now, we're over here, and we have Kansas City, Lawrence, Topeka, all in our district. So obviously, there's a lot more traffic, a lot more issues with highways and with roadways, but the traffic is. Our issue is more about ag producers and getting access to markets, things like that, and having good highways and safe roads. So what happens at these local consults? So over the course of this year and next year, projects and ideas are put forth. They vet them, the engineers look at them, they kind of work them through. And when you finally get to the consult, you go to the meeting and everybody has a chance to weigh in on the list. So you'll see there's lists in here. One of these has like a checklist thing and a scoring. And so what they do is when you actually sit in a room and you actually talk about these projects, and people from those areas come and talk about why there's a need or why there's importance. And I saw that happen when what happened is some of these projects moved up the list because the people there explained what the problems are. So the reason I bring that up is in 2 years, this is going to be held again in October. And I need city and county commissioners from Atchison and Donovan and Brown, Jefferson, all to go down there and sit in the room. It makes a difference. I watched it happen because people up from out by Manhattan, there's a couple of highways out there, some intersections, and they've had a lot of growth that corridor out between St. Mary's and Manhattan. And that was a lower priority, and they moved it up. And they said, okay, we'll get on that. At least they realized there's a problem. So I think we just need to have this on our radar. The challenge is it's in Topeka. So the very bottom edge of our district, but that's where they have it. And it's also during harvest. So it's in October. So it's a tough time to get the ag folks there. But there were some there from other places. So it could be, we just got to find our key 5 or 10 people to go down there and have the right voices. So I want everybody to be aware of that. So this is just the one we went through, and it talks about the projects. We do have some things starting to happen, so we'll see where it goes. If you guys have an area of concern or get some feedback on something, let me know, and we'll try to keep it on the list. I think we've covered quite a bit in that list I've got there, and they seem to feel like there were some good ideas on here, so we'll see where they go. The other things, any questions on the consult thing? There'll be more on that as it gets closer. So and by the way, I give the same packet to Joe Snyder. He's already aware of quite a bit of this stuff. And I think he's been to one local consult too, he said. The big thing is this grant assistance program. They just kicked this off this summer without much fanfare at all. So most people didn't know about this. Okay. What happens is, so you need help getting a grant written to get a bridge maybe, or whatever it may be. And then you're like, okay, you can write the grant. Who's got time for that? And you're trying to do this haphazardly. They will help you do the grant. So it's the Kansas Infrastructure Hub. I don't think it costs anything. I think it's just they'll help you get the job done. So this is huge for small counties like us, where you don't have a grant writer sitting around or people with the right expertise. So I highly recommend engaging with that. And I know Joe's going to check into that a little bit more to see where we're at on that. And that's part of this technical assistance as well. So it all kind of ties together. So you got that information in there, and that's a huge part of moving forward on things. And they also, maybe they can help you find a little bit more money to help offset the costs, so those are the main things I brought back from that. And I had a chance to network and meet some folks, and they knew who I am now. And they know where we are on the map. So anyway, any questions about that?
No, I actually went through and highlighted a few areas over here that maybe it helped us.
Yeah.
We've got activity going on out there at the industrial park, Mead Road. And so I happened to see maybe some grant opportunities that might help us out there.
Yeah, I think that's a good location. I think
Yeah.
here's three that come to my mind that I didn't put on this list. Mead Road, because what's going on there now, it's a good choice. Raven Hill Drive, because there's so much truck traffic on that, and it's been improved pretty much down to the hospital entrance. But if you guys ever go out there, I got people who live on that road, friends of mine, and it is like an interstate highway and semis and those grain trucks. And one day I just pulled over out there. I was at a Walmart or something. I just pulled over along the shoulder. I just sat there, had to make a phone call. I just sat there for a while. I lost track of how many semis went by. I mean, I quit counting at about 40 or 50. And I was only there for maybe 20 minutes. I mean, it was crazy. So it's busy. And so that road's going to get a lot more impacted. It's narrower down low and might be an area that is worth talking about getting that improved too. Once we got the road smoothed up, it was a little bit less noise, but the drivers do complain about it. And the other one is big long term and has been talked about before. It's Lincoln Road. Go on Lincoln Road and go to where it goes towards Cummings across there. I'm not sure. That's probably about 7 or 8 miles, I'm guessing. It's a pretty good distance. Is that about right? Yeah, something like that. Well, that road has no railroad tracks it crosses. It has highway access between the two highways. And it's one place that if the industrial park, if things start happening more out that way, that's a great passway to get through there. If we could improve that road for semi-traffic and ag and everything else, I think it'd be a good one. That's been brought up before and put on the back burner. As part of its township, I think, and part of its county, and there's some bridges. So, but long-term, development-wise, that may be a road to keep in the back of your mind. So, but those are not urgent needs. These are just down the road things. So anyway, things to think about. And how much time do I have?
We have another, we don't have another thing till 10:45. So we're good. You have 30 minutes.
I don't need that much. Any questions about K.S.A or anything like that? Think some or get some
No,
feedback.
With your map, and to your point, I noticed that we just, Kansas City area, of course, Lansing, Leavenworth, that area gets most of the attention, based on.
Yeah,
So,
volume.
but it is, but it says that that there's a need for us as well. We should be able to take part in some of that, and I know Joe does some of that.
Yeah.
He Amrod's most of them.
So Wathena is probably the hot spot in my district because there's a lot of things happening coming out of St. Joe over that way. There's 3 new plants that will one expanded. I think one's a new thing. There's another ag producer of some sort that wants to build a big facility over there. So St. Joe, the way I understand it, their prime industrial areas are kind of built out, and to make the next step is a pretty major step infrastructure wise to get utilities to it. So Wathena's starting to get more growth, they're getting more activity over there. So there's a lot happening up there right now that may be big. So but we're in the same situation. We've got good cross-state access here with the bridge, and we're a third way here too. So I think we need to be on top of it. The Meriden, one thing on here from Meriden coming north, it's been going to be 4-lane talked about for years. We're actually approving starting it and bringing that 4-lane off 24 for 4 highway, bringing it on past Meriden. So that's the first step of someday long term when our great grandkids are around, it'll probably be 4-lane all the way up here. That's the master plan, but we will never see it. But that's the first step. They're starting to come this way. So something to keep in mind. But all right. Well, as far as the sessions coming up, and a hot topic or two. So I can tell you what I know and what I don't know, and we'll go from there. But the big ones are property tax and appraisal. That's going to be hot on the front end. We at the end of the session last year, we went back and forth between 2 different versions of a bill to try to do some things, and they just died in conference committee. The clock ran out, and I think since then, Adam Smith, the tax chair in the House, has been meeting. They've had interim hearings. They brought in some tax experts that understand all this stuff because it sounds like a good idea today. Then you figure out actuarially in 20 years the impact, and you realize that's maybe not a good idea. So there's a lot behind the scenes on this. So I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know they're looking at things to somehow slow down the growth of property taxes and the growth in appraisals. And we'll see what that looks like. So it's still in flux. So I don't know what the final thing is going to be. That's one reason that myself and a rep from Garden City started the local government caucus. There's 40 legislators in the House and Senate that are both Democrat and Republican and have been at either township level, small county, large counties, or in cities, small and large. So it's a good mix of government experience. So we're there to try to hopefully be the voice of everybody on these local government areas like the Atchison counties and the Seward counties and the whatever, to say, wait a minute, that sounds really good for the big five, but it's not good for us. Because that was happening last year. We are like, that's a great idea, but here's what happens at wherever, name any small town. So I think that's hopefully we'll get a balance in there where it's doesn't really injure or hurt like Atchison and Donovan County, but at the same time, it's kind of a fair thing for everybody. I forget the number, but I think it's 13 or 8, I forget the numbers, a lot of what they call mandates from the state that now counties do, and sometimes cities do. So we're going to try to reverse that a little bit, try to get them to help fund some of those services or find a way to make that less top down. Yeah. So we'll see. But there's a lot of things kind of happening with that. It's also an election year. So that always throws a wrench in the gears as far as who's willing to step out there and really take something on. But the House and Senate both seemed pretty aggressive about taking issues on this last session. They didn't seem to blink, and they were happy to override vetoes. And so hopefully everybody's still got their game on and we'll just get things done. But we'll find out. But those are some of the top issues, that property tax and appraisal. There's a lot of other things out there. And anything that you guys have in your mind that your questions about?
I have a question, and that is with the legislature wanting to keep property taxes low as possible, why did they exempt watercraft and ATVs and all of that? I mean, that was already in place.
Yeah.
It keeps narrowing the tax base. So the only place to go is property on ad valorem.
Right.
So I was just wondering, what was the impetus behind them exempting?
That's a good question. Same thing. I kept asking that, and all I got was apparently they were extremely hard to track down. It was hard to follow them. They tend to move back and forth, and everybody sells and buys them. And apparently, it was hard to keep track of them, and I guess they just walked away from it. I never got a clear answer that I was satisfied with. Is maybe be more competitive with other states as far as, because I know people like license their boat in Missouri because it's cheaper, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But
they were to get what you can get. I mean, if you weren't getting it all, it doesn't mean that you exempt everything.
I thought
I just couldn't. That one I really scratched my head about, because with the environment that's been talked about, it's like reduce property tax. Well, here was an opportunity. I mean, I know it wasn't a big item, but
yeah.
it just didn't seem like the left hand knew what the right was doing.
Well, and the challenge is, so the citizens yell at everybody to lower property taxes. So that here at the state, we got rid of the 1.5 mils that we put on there to help fund facility improvements. Well, okay, that's gone. So the state doesn't even collect property tax. It's kind of like you're mad at the kid in the classroom, so you go tell the principal to take care of that. Take care of yourself. I mean,
Right.
so now we're in the position going like we're trying to tell you what to do, and I have a hard time with that. So we got to balance that out and figure it out. Cities have more revenue streams typically, and they have more flexibility on how they can fund things. Counties are pretty limited. And
Sales tax or property tax?
That's where your
Yeah.
caucus would have come in handy before this was taken away from the county.
Yeah.
Because the caucus could have said, hey, you know what? The county relies on ad valorem almost extensively. So taking away this little bit actually matters, right? Taking away the boat,
Yeah.
the RV tax is going to put a dent. And so, because our margins are very, very thin, right?
Yeah.
The county margins. So that would have been a good time to have that caucus and say, no, this isn't going to work. We've spoken with, our commissioners, our treasury, our, the folks back home, and they're just saying there's no room for this. So I like the caucus. I think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see, county folks brought in on a regular basis. And I'm all for it because I would do it. I would go down in a heartbeat and plead our case here. You know, most folks know, I'm sure you do too, we took the hard road this year on the 26 budget, and we made massive reductions here in Atchison County. So I think that has to be looked at the state level and say, look, these folks did what they had to do to make,
Yeah.
you know, to make it work and not overtax their folks. They're actually attempting, you know, to do this. And so because we did that and looked at everything line by line, you know, a lot of lines in the county budget, but we line by line went through it. And when you're doing that, I think it should resonate at the state. The state should look at this county and say, you know what, they're doing the hard work. Let's hear from them.
Right.
So that's what I would like.
That's fair.
Is for you all to reach out to us, and we'll give you specifics. We'll give you some ideas. You know.
Yep. I think that's a good point. Well, we used to have the LAVTR, you know, so that there was a formula that, you know, there was a money sent back to the counties based on the formula of population and all the different things. And that quit, you know, at the same time they quit doing that, there were more mandates. And so it's kind of like, how do we pay for this stuff? Meanwhile, you all know the inflation, supply costs. I mean, it's, and you can't just hire anybody off the street to do these jobs. People have to have some skills, you know, and they have to have ability to do a lot of things, computer skills and just people skills, and just it's hard stuff. It's tough culture. So yeah, so hopefully we'll find some kind of a compromise in there. There is an interesting bill. You can look this one up. I think it's House Bill 5014. It's called the Tax Freedom Act, I think is the name of it. Blake Carpenter, who's the Speaker Pro Tem, has written this bill, and I'm thinking about signing on to it. Basically, it's to reduce some of the current exemptions for property tax. And I can't remember if you had sales tax in there or not, but get rid of some of those exemptions, and that money would flow into this fund. This fund would essentially become like an endowment over time. And as it gets bigger, we could drop, like, vehicle taxes were first, and then eventually property taxes could be on the list. But it's pretty impressive when they've done the actuary work on this and see how it can grow.
What type of exemptions are?
I think the number between property tax exemptions statewide and sales tax is somewhere around $15 billion. I mean, you know, and like, I think it was like 9 billion and 6 billion, whatever the number, it was huge. And we were talking like a couple of billion of it. So we're not, so there's still be a lot
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, we have too many exemptions. I mean, if you just take Atchison and just put a map up and have Roger do this, he had nothing to do. Cut out like all the nonprofits and all the religious, all the colleges and all the schools and posts, cut all that stuff out, and they don't pay taxes. What you're left with? I mean,
I think we're number 11 on tax exempt properties by percentage.
And I don't know that the answer is to tax everybody, but maybe if they have some skin in the game, maybe it's a super low percentage or some low amount, but they still get a lot of city and county services. They're still getting a lot of, you know, they still have police, they have sheriff, so that's all there. So I think that's one of the arguments that I hear down there, that we need to start really looking at that. And a bigger problem, I guess, sales tax exemptions, because every little club wants to have a sales tax exemption, and every little church, so that's fine, but it adds up. And even if it was just maybe exempt the first $500 that you pay a year, so there's a way to do this where you can say that you need to pay a little bit.
Contribute.
Yeah. And I've actually talked to a couple of folks that have those, I'll just say it, those type of entities, and they both said, we'd be okay paying our sales tax. They didn't even blink at that. They were like, we don't want to be, you know, on the system. We want to be part of it. So that was interesting. So there's going to be a lot of this discussed. That's probably a too hot a topic for this year's session, but I know it's definitely on the burner.
Well, but that actually, you talked about getting back into the business of property tax relief, those two bills, the one out of the House and Senate, and rethinking all that.
Yeah.
And to your point on the on the exempt question of whether or not to maybe start collecting some of that on the exempt properties. I mean, honestly, that feeds right into that,
Yeah.
property tax relief. Is
Right.
that if you were able to do some kind of rotation throughout, I don't know how you would do it, if it would be county by county, or it would almost have to be, I would think, by county. But if you were to do kind of a rotation where you taxed some of the exempt properties, that could probably be part of that bill. That could actually take care of some of what you're talking about in that. And I know those two bills focused on property assessment,
Right.
and trying to lower some of that. But this could possibly, what you're talking about on the exempt properties could possibly fit right into that same narrative,
Yep.
kind of a rotating, not asking for 100%, but a portion
Right.
of what they assessed.
Yeah, and maybe it's a set
Yeah.
dollar amount based on the size of your entity. There's all kinds of, there's several
Yep.
ways they've talked about it. I'm not on that committee, so all I've got is just kind of the hall talk. But I just know that there's a lot of discussions going on about how to do it would be fair,
Yeah.
We don't want to be the one who's responsible for closing down a church or something because of the taxes.
Yeah.
But I think there's room to have the discussion. So those are things kind of going on. I'll be having my legislative coffees again. We're getting those dates set. So those will be about 4 of those throughout the spring, winter and spring. So when we have those dates set, I'll let you know when those are. I was on an interim committee this summer for health. Talked a lot of things. Nursing homes, remember the surveys with the nursing home senior village? Yeah. Well, apparently there's been a lot of very proud inspectors in the surveys that like to find people. So there were some hearings and there's some activity going on there to rein that in a bit. Same with fire marshal. We'll see how that goes, but there's definitely some problems. But there's a nursing shortage and there's issues with getting more nurses through school, and also the nursing board's been a problem. They've been very aggressive in some of their actions and a little unbalanced in their fairness. And so there's actually a bill that's coming forward to actually basically replace them. We've you watch the hearings. They're on WebEx. You can pull them up and watch them.
Okay.
So it's not good. So these are the kind of things we're doing more oversight. And a lot of this goes back to starting doing our budget process before the session. So until last year, we didn't do anything, very little before the session started. Then the governor would bring a budget and then things would start happening. So last year they started working on the budget ahead of time and had hearings with all the department heads, and things had a chance to dig a little deeper. And then I was on a budget committee and it got pretty hairy. We started pulling all kinds of things out, and some of it's unintentional. Some of it's just way we always did it, things like that. But you would get rid of over 900 employees, but you never saw a headline because they were across the departments. There were over 900 positions that were funded that were never filled year after year.
That sounds familiar.
That's what I thought you noticed. And so we got rid of that and had to backtrack and put about 75 back in there because there were positions that needed to get filled. And so it shows you the problem. Okay. So we had some low hanging fruit like that last year, but when it woke up all the department heads, and we have some that are doing a great job. So don't get me wrong on that, but there were some that are just the way they are. And so we had to kind of straighten that out. And so this year, the budget hearings have been a little warmer down there, and they've really gotten into they're digging a little deeper at the second level stuff. So now I think it's going to be easy. It'll be a lot of noise, but I think it's going to be easy to cut the budget even more this year at the state level, and which may give us a little more room to help with the local government stuff. We'll kind of see how that balances out. So we'll see. But there's just kind of watch the news. It's going to be kind of interesting. So, but that's just some of the stuff that's been going on. A lot of oversight stuff going on. There's been a lot of whistleblower activity, just trying to, a lot of employees that are getting a hold of them and saying, hey, we can do this better. This is waste. This could be done another way. Things like that, which has been good.
We had talked on the phone about a month ago, I think it was, and we was talking about different things. And I said, hey, there ought to be some kind of legislation to protect property from the scam of where they just create a title, submit it to register of deeds, and then they can just go in there, get loans again it, and then the people, by the time they find out that the property even changed hands, Did I hear that there was some legislation being sponsored by a senator that is actually
Yeah, there's a couple things going on.
there is some action on that?
Yeah, and so yeah, and you know what? I emailed somebody on that and I don't think I heard back. So I'm gonna follow up on that for more details.
I think
The
it's a
other-
very good topic because I mean, people don't know how they can get by with it that easy, you know, and if they're doing that on homes, I don't know why they couldn't do it on a quarter of land or anything else.
Well, I'm on the financial institutions and pensions committee. Okay, so this kind of stuff we deal with, and I know one of the other bills that is coming is right now the banks and credit unions. These folks are they're kind of handcuffed a little bit if grandma or grandpa shows up down at the bank and says all of a sudden I need 20,000 in cash to go give to somebody that they're kind of like they really can't do a lot. I mean they try, but there's some limitations. There's a law where if you have a concern that something's not right with this, that they can actually stop the transaction, not do it, and be able to call the next of kin or something and just find out really what's going on. Because there's been a lot of that. And cryptocurrency people, they're horrible. That's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And the good people in crypto or help sponsor this bill. There's one place in Topeka that they said the lady stood there and she kept getting money out of this certain ATM, and she said, man, on the phone was telling her what to do, and they couldn't stop it, and the scout took out like a lot of money. So
Yeah, I think an individual stopped in and seen what was going in and kind of got her stopped.
well, there was one of those. We had one that where the employee had it on camera, and she actually called the authorities. And I understand the people who owned the place, I don't know if they fired her or disciplined her or got after her, but she was told not to do that again or whatever. So that,
Yeah. Yeah, but those
those are the kind of things that,
Our register of deeds has that set up.
it does
The
have a
prop-
program.
Yeah,
I was going to bring
property
that up.
fraud. Yeah.
yeah,
So, you can go on, our website and go to the Register of Deeds, and she has it set up where you can learn more about property fraud alert service and then, take part in it too. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
helpful.
But
Yeah.
not
I think-
everybody's aware of that. And that's one.
I think there is a bill to do something to toughen that up a little bit or something. So I'll check more on
I
that.
would think that a lending institution would need to be a little more responsible because I mean, they don't do any homework on it. It's like, oh, well, here's a fresh new title, and now I'm just going to loan massive amounts of money on it, and we don't care. I mean, and then they don't even go back and try to rectify it. It's like, well, we just, we gave a loan on this property, whether it was a fraudulent one or not, and there's like no responsibility on the lending institution. Like they didn't research it any further than that.
We
So
think of lending institutions like Exchange or UMB or
Mhm.
whatever, Bank of Atchison.
it's
There's
not
all
those.
kinds of players out there,
Yeah.
and maybe they're part of the problem.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what else you got?
So just a couple things I have from listening at the property tax and the exemption relief. Like, I know that you're looking at setting up the fund at the state level, but we really need resources here at the county level. I mean, you touched about roads and bridges, you know as well as I do, Atchison County, we're not equal of where our population is, and I hear it every day. Like, why,
Yeah.
and we have to find resources to assist us with that, because I mean, you sat here for 2 years, you know the problem.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like the need completely outweighs the resources available, and so we're trying to think outside the box and look at different ways of possibly road districts or different things to help us achieve goals, but it just never seems good. And I know at some of the events I go to at the state, you hear state folks talk about counties not being due diligent, doing their due diligence. There's fluff, there's all these things, and I'm sitting there shaking my head like none of it. Atchison County
Yeah.
is absolutely on top of it. There's no fluff. I mean, the people are feeling the tax burden. 57 last year seemed to be a comfort level for you, and people are getting it this year going, we can't do this, and it's,
Yeah.
I think that it's just like us working with our municipalities. We got to work with the state to gain trust, and the people of the state have to trust their counties that we are working hard on behalf of the taxpayers.
Yeah. So
And we're looking at everything just like you guys are, to find efficiencies and doing more with less, because we absolutely are doing all the things. I've,
On that county issue, if you look up county populations, the top five, then it goes down a pretty good chunk. Then it's Leavenworth's number 6, and then it really does. I mean, it's like there's distinct different size, and all of those top five have very little farmland. They're very urbanized or suburbanized, you know. So especially like Wyandotte, for example, you know. So that's why we're telling them it's not apples and apples. There's really 3 counties. There's your urban, suburban, and then you've got your, I'd call them rural, and then there's frontier is the other category we use. And now there's some counties are just there's like 12 people. I mean, they're so small, and they're unique sets of needs, you know. So yeah, so to your point, that's one of the things we're going to try to convey is we can't have one big hammer to hit all the nails. We gotta have different approaches.
a couple other things, and this is just us trying to bring, and I invited all of our elected officials to the meeting today to share, their struggles. Because I know one of the things that I've heard through the treasurer's office is the state software. They're using the movers, and it seems like there's always delays, or it's hard to be efficient in the office when the state programs aren't keeping up. So I don't know if there's any focus on looking at the programs that the state offers to make sure that they're working properly and allowing them to.
Which offices have the biggest problem?
So movers is through the treasurer's office. And I think that was the one that we've heard the most. But also, on the state level, if there's any help you can, because you guys are bigger, so the negotiating power of, health plans or computer. With anything, I went to the Farm Bureau meeting the other night, and, they offer incentives to their members of like, hey, because it's buying power. You're a member,
Right.
Here's a discount off this or that. And just thinking of that big picture of the state and passing it down to counties, whether it's help with, we use Dell, so equipment or health plans, anything really that you can. We're looking at the software amongst our departments and having it communicate well, because it cuts down on duplication of one office having to enter it and the next office having to enter the same thing. So just really hearing, kind of some of the struggles at a county level, and if there's anything at the state you guys can do to help us with that. Property, we talked about property tax relief. I think that holding your appraisers to the standard of the real estate market has been the problem over the past few years. The sales are outrageous, and the people that have lived in their house for 30 years are the ones feeling it and going, what? I didn't do anything. And so just helping anything you can do with property tax, obviously. And then
one guy told me once he got his house paid off, he felt like he still had a house payment because his taxes had gone up so much.
Yeah.
He says like my house payment didn't disappear. That's not right.
Right.
Yeah, and some of the increases that you're hearing, they're not sustainable. So we gotta keep plugging away at that. And then the other thing is the TGT tax for the 1-2 bedrooms,
I'm on that already.
the Airbnbs and the bed and breakfasts. It all should be funneling to TGT. Especially you see it right now with FIFA coming in 26. Like it was on the news last night. Rent your house out, and it's like, well, if you have a 3-bedroom or more, rent your house out, because otherwise it doesn't help us.
When I brought that up to Representative Kessler, he was like, "What?" He's on that committee. So we're trying to figure out if it's a tax committee or a commerce committee issue, but I might get a bill put together on that.
That would be great.
So I've talked to a couple of the folks about that, and they'll go like, "Really? What?" They're all surprised.
It surprised me when I learned about it too, and so I was like,
And I got a hold of legislative research about asked them to find out VRBOs and Airbnbs and all these, what's on that side of the equation. Is there something they do that creates this problem, or is this just what we decided to do?
yeah.
Well,
and sometimes it's things that haven't been looked at forever, and then when you bring it up, it's like, oh yeah, we should change that.
Yeah.
And so those were the things that I had on my list of just keeping in contact, and like Mr. Campbell said, just being involved regularly to share our struggles and work together to find.
I might have you all down sometime to testify.
Yeah.
So the other one is, the bill I've got, I'm putting in is, to stop mail-in only elections. You can still do advanced ballot, you can do absentee, you can still do all that overseas, all that's good. But to have an election, it's mail-in only. And every time I bring it up, everybody's like, I'm in. Nobody likes it. That's what 409 did with that one election. It was a mess. And I won't blame 409. It was just a mess. I mean, I think the people that he hired to do the thing screwed it up. I know Michelle had stacks of ballots up there. You probably saw them. It was terrible.
Well, any time when it comes to voting, that there's any inkling of something inappropriate or, there's an integrity, question of integrity,
Yeah,
that's a problem. And there shouldn't be any
it shouldn't even be talked about.
election
Yeah, you're right.
integrity questions. And
No.
so, and I think most of us know what those are, what would lead to those
Yeah.
questions. And that one was right.
Yeah, and it's happened other places too. It's not just here. There's been some other ones that didn't go well. So
Well, Representative Proctor introduced that bill that changed special elections.
yeah,
That was huge, I think.
yep.
So,
And he's behind this with me.
All right, guys, hate to cut us off,
Okay.
but we have a bid opening at 10:45 and we're a minute behind. So thank you so much for coming. Appreciate the information. And just, yeah, keep us posted as things progress and.
Yeah. Sounds good.
appreciate-
If
And then any help you sat here and you kind of helped us brainstorm with the sales tax for EMS too. So if we're gonna put some information together and we'll get it out to you because I'm sure you'll get questions on that
yeah,
too.
yeah, I've already had a couple.
So, yep.
So sounds good.
Okay.
Good luck on the bid opening.
All right. Thank you.
All right, enjoyed it. You guys take care. You know how to get a hold of me.
Okay. So next we have Joe Snyder, Road and Bridge Superintendent with the fuel bid opening.
Good morning.
Morning.
So this was extended from the 9th because we didn't have a commission meeting the 9th. And all we did was we put out that they would be open the 16th. They were supposed to be received by the 5th. Well, neither one of these were received by the 5th, and I guess I'm asking permission to go ahead and open these. One was the 12th and one was today. So is everybody good with that?
Yes, and didn't we intend or say at one time that when we put bid openings out, we were gonna just change it to until the opening and then to kind of get away from that? If it was the
Usually
last minute.
positions fulfilled, that was more on positions because a lot of
Okay.
times with our bids, the vendors or the contractors want to know when so they can show up.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Yeah, but if somebody wanted to submit one and like it was quarter till and they got here and had another bid, I mean, I would be.
Well, if you want-
That's not,
If you want it to be the. Okay, so here's the only problem with that. I can't set a time when I send in for being put on the agenda because I do not know what time I'm gonna be put on the agenda.
okay.
So that's why we've put a date. Now, if you want it to be before 10 o'clock on the day of the commission meeting, that's fine, but it's kind of hard when I send in, I don't know where I'm gonna be put on the agenda.
Set a time and we can put you in firmly at that time on the agenda. That's what you want.
Well,
we'll talk about process. And
Yeah.
all right. All righty. So
I
this
into that.
first one is this is a 2026 fuel bids for the county. That would be first one is from Consumer Oil. And we had bid 46,000 gallons of clear diesel, and their bid is $2.68 and 1/10 or whatever per gallon with a winter blend surcharge of 5 cents per gallon. Purchase price for 33,000 gallons of dyed diesel is $2.4121 with 5 cents surcharge. And the purchase of 20,450 gallons of unleaded is $2.33.8. Now this includes solid wastes, quarry
EMS.
EMS, and then I believe IT is in this also. So it's not just our fuel, it's everybody's fuel. Second one is from Ag Partners. All right, and the cleared diesel is 275.5. And then on the, they've left a note here, winter blend. Number one to be charged at 2,755 plus the difference between the rack price of 1 and 2. So I'll have to do some checking on that. The dyed diesel is 251.5 with the same comment on the winter blend. And then the price per gallon on unleaded is 242.5. So, and these prices are less than last year. Just so everyone knows. So I'll go take this and I'm gonna try to understand exactly what they have right here and then be back with a recommendation next week.
Okay,
If everybody's good with that.
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for putting up the additional signage for the closure on 262. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
And I know constituents, there's been a lot of confusion out there, so appreciate that. And they wanted me to tell you thank you as well.
All right, thank you.
And thanks to both entities for bidding.
Begins to Susan. With everything that's going on with the two K.S.A projects, we're gonna do everything we can to make it better if we can. You know, they're both on 59 and they're both, 2 miles from each other, and it makes it a little tough. I've noticed a bunch of car traffic on our roads. As long as it stays to car traffic, it's not as big a deal as if it starts getting to the truck.
I was gonna say, are you putting up signs?
We have signs that say no commercial traffic, but if it starts getting bad, I will get a hold of Jack. We had talked earlier about trying to slow some of it down, but
Yeah.
I haven't got any complaints about trucks, but
Do we know their timeline? I mean, is it a
It's-
year?
oh,
I
yeah.
mean, 73 was
It's
a year.
gonna
We're
be,
gonna start
yeah.
April in the spring, so
Mhm.
that's gonna be the only thing, because what I've heard so far is people are taking Ottawa down to Cummings to avoid
Right.
all of it.
Right,
So,
so it'll be,
but
but
Okay.
there's not a whole lot we can do about that. Thank you very much.
thank you. All right, next we have Susan Carrigan, County Clerk and Election Official. So we have the Muskota City Council position drawing.
Yep.
So there was a 3-way tie.
Yep.
And we have 3 names in here. We have a 3-way tie with James Betts, with Jean Begessi and Caitlin Scoggins.
Yep.
Do you want to
I'll
draw?
hold and you draw.
Okay. So I'm gonna draw one out. I'm going to open that. And it is James Betts. So, James Betts will be Muskota City Council position.
Should we draw a second name just in case that person backs out or whatever?
I think there's a process that gets followed that is now on the city
Okay.
council.
All right,
side.
well,
Yeah.
earlier when we were discussed a little bit, and you said something about, and I thought, well, maybe we could just have that taken care of if we draw a second name.
I think now,
There's a-
if they decline that, there's statute and things that get followed, I think.
Okay,
It's
I guess we can always do another drawing.
Yeah, it's definitely.
All right, so then the election equipment discussion, we are postponing that. We've been looking at options and we're just gonna keep it at the forefront, but continue to do our due diligence. And then the last is, over the past few weeks, thank you for the time and effort that both the county clerk and finance director put into looking into options for HR. I would look for a motion to authorize our county clerk to move forward with getting a contract in place with Paycom Connect. Do I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye, passes 3-0. All right, next we have Mark Zeltner, Finance Director, request for payment Effingham Sports Complex site.
Yes, so I received a invoice from Trotloff Excavating for the Effingham site on excavator, skid loader, dump truck, and labor for a demo of a house at 1018 Tiger Road for the Effingham Sports Complex. The total is $9,000 even. And I wanted to give you the total, how much was left out of their appropriation amount. I didn't have that handy. So while looking that up, here's that request for payment.
Okay, so I'd look for a motion to approve the request for payment from USB 377 for the Effingham site in the amount of $9,000 to Trotloff Excavating for the demolition of the house at 1018 Tiger Road.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0.
So that allotment that I was previously discussing, the commission had voted 100,000 to Effingham site, 400,000 to Atchison site. The Atchison site is completely exhausted at 0. But after that $9,000 payment, the Effingham site would have 26,219.99 remaining. And they are aware of that number as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, so the project concern, Commissioner Knoll touched on that earlier, that we will be tabling that because they do not have that voted on yet.
And I've messaged Jeff Shealy today, telling him that we need to have that MOU and the results.
Okay.
So.
We have executive session at 11:30, so I'm gonna keep going. We have Susan Carrigan. She was wanting us to look at the scheduling with Civic Plus. So maybe we check our calendars later in workshop and get
Sure.
that scheduled.
Yep.
All right, so I have 4 electronic. And if you guys want me to print them, I can, but I have the 4 attorneys for our court appointed attorneys. So every year we budget for these. And we got commitment from all 4 attorneys that they do want to return and represent Atchison County for the court appointed in 26. So I can just read through one of them, if that's okay.
I
Or,
don't know if that's necessary. I
Or-
mean, to read the whole thing or.
okay, do you want to just me to print it? I don't know if I can print an electronic document. He sent it to me to sign electronically, but basically the contract is between the Board of County Commissioners and Atchison County. And the first one is Judd Herbster, an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Kansas. The board desires the contract with the attorney to provide legal services in Atchison County for certain cases in which attorneys must be appointed to represent individuals in actions filed in the District Court of Atchison County, Kansas. So there's a scope. We budget for it every year. And
I don't think there's been any change in the contract. I think it's the generic contract.
Okay.
That,
We increased the budget.
I would look for a motion to allow the chair to sign this first one with Judd Herbster electronically. I actually with all 4 of them.
I would include them all in one motion.
Matt Rich, Judd Herbster, Mr. Stefan, and John Kurth are the 4. So with that, I'd look for a motion to allow me to sign these electronically.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the first one I'm signing is for Judd Herbster. And I have to initial and then sign. Okay, that one is finalized. And then I assume it'll send us a copy of that. Let me see. Okay, and then I can print it for you, Susan, to put in your.
That'd be great.
Okay. Okay, so that one's done.
You're gonna do all of those right now?
Yeah,
I'm gonna use the restroom.
Okay.
Excuse me.
to change, oh, there it goes, maybe. It's gonna say. Nope, it says. The link has expired. All right, we're gonna go the route of. Printing them and I will just sign them. I'm sure you sent them and I forwarded them. They're there. Robert Stefan. Couldn't think of his first name. Okay, thank you. Probably a good thing that I'm printing these because it was an initials and it should be the date of today, so. So 16th day.
Pat signing these electronically?
Yeah, he might have to come in because the link is expired. All right, did I give you 3 so far? 2. All right, here's Stefan. So you got Kurth, Stefan. We're missing one.
This one's really thick. Maybe you bundle 2 together. No?
I think Matt Rich, I got it still print.
Oh, we did some on 2-sided.
Okay. So that one will be printing and then those will be done. Court appointed attorney. Leadership Atchison is coming today at 1:30 with Commissioner Greenlee.
At 1:30.
1:30.
Should be a while.
Oh, let me do this hams really quick too. Okay, so ham companies in Perry, Kansas that we contract with for our solid waste transfer station has been purchased. And they just sold to Allied Waste Systems Incorporated, a Delaware corporation. And its affiliates, including Prairie Landfill LLC, is a subsidiary of Allied. So they sent us a registered letter that is requesting the chair's signature, that this will just, all of our contract will still be honored that we've signed with them for 26. But this is just changing the name. So the waste services contract that we dated November 21st of 2017 between NR Ham Quarry LLC, a Kansas limited liability company, also known as HAM, and Atchison County, Kansas, is going to be amended to waste services contract dated October 1st of 2023. So with that, they're asking for a signature to acknowledge the transition, and I would look for a motion to approve my signature on it.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Okay, and then it's done.
I've got just a little something. Susan, I was reading through my NACO list of topics there, and it got me thinking too on election equipment. I know that President Trump has talked about making a mandate for all paper ballot elections, you know. So if that would go through, I mean, that could possibly change some of the, I mean, if
Yeah, and
ballot equipment or,
I can't speak to it too eloquently, but there's something about states having authority and power over elections that they don't necessarily have to follow
yeah,
an executive order
right.
like that.
But,
So
you know,
that
just, you
doesn't
know,
necessarily mean Kansas would opt to.
follow,
Mhm.
you know, follow the. I just saw that and I just thought, well, before we order it,
Yeah.
the guy wants to look, see what the latest,
Yep. And I guess that's one of the ideas or options of going back kind of old school, where you just do paper and you have your ballot boxes and you just have a central scanner.
yeah,
I think that Representative Rivas spoke about passing a bill to do away with mail-in
Mhm.
ballots. Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I
Just
think,
mail-in election only.
right,
Only
election
mail-in,
only, election only. And I think that's where that's where this executive is going, this executive decision is going. Is to do away with paper only, unsolicited ballots being spread out all over the, you know, the country before an election, like we saw 2020. 2020 is when that happened because of COVID, and then the states kind of ran with that, and so he's trying to prevent that, and I think the state's looking at that too, same thing.
Gotcha.
But I don't think it has to do with using a machine. I don't think, I could be wrong. I don't
Well-
think that's part of it. I think it's just it's the unsolicited mail-in ballots that were mailed out by the millions and millions, that I think they're trying to get a handle on, is what I think.
yeah, a lot of the executive orders are pretty broad, and so, you know, that, you know, it's
Yep.
gonna be hard to know until it comes down
Yep,
what it's gonna
No.
say.
that's a good point.
I think it's good to just hold off until we have another election that's bigger too. See how that works, what we have. Give us a better idea than for a big general. What will we need?
Before I touch on the dispatch sales tax, I know I didn't add this to the agenda, but I would like to have you guys entertain a motion. I just got an email from our executive director with the health department, and they have hired Kelly Tucker as the new RN for Atchison. She will be working between Atchison and Brown County until they get a nurse in Brown County. So the commission has to appoint her as our new health officer for Atchison County. So with that, I would look for a motion to approve Kelly Tucker, RN, as Atchison County's health officer for the Atchison County Health Department, or the Northeast Kansas Multi-County Health Department.
So she's on board, past all of the hurdles, and she's on board.
She's hired.
Okay.
That's what yep.
I would approve that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Kelly with an I. Tucker is our new health officer. So I will let Deanna know that. Okay, I had put on here that I wanted to have a discussion with you guys about the dispatch sales tax planning inventory. And this is just on here to bring it up because I had not the chief, but someone on the board of Effingham Fire asking me several questions. I answered them all to the best of my ability, including copying our sales tax ballot. But with new leadership, they have a new chief and just in general in Atchison County, right? Like when things happen and then you get new leaders in place, like I think it's just in our best interest to write it down, write it down like our policy. I know in February, our finance director reached out to all the stakeholders, their leaders, to ask, kind of engage in any needs. So we just need to kind of get our heads at the table, with, a process, put it down in writing so that if all of us in the room aren't here, then somebody knows, what the intent and what the path forward is. So, but I did touch base, with the new chief out there and let him know like I wasn't going to respond because I'm one of 3 commissioners. And a lot of it's interpretation and I didn't want to speak out of turn. So I just think it's in the best interest of everybody if we put something down in writing of and that's all they want, right? Is they want to know what's covered, what's not, so they can plan accordingly, budget accordingly, and all the things. So just bringing that up so we can put that on our radar for things to accomplish. All right, so we have about 15 minutes until. How much time do we need for the next executive session? What did we have for this one? 30 minutes? 30 minutes for this one? Okay. And then
Who else gonna be in it?
I think it was just the board and myself, but. Okay, if you wanna be in it.
No, I'm not asking, I just wanna put it in the, I'm just.
might be better. So the clerk, the commissioners, and the finance director.
Okay.
We're gonna go in at what time?
He's coming at 11:30.
Okay.
So. Is there anything else that we're forgetting to do? Or you have? Just think about it. We can.
No, just, I think the HR was a big one for me. And the county attorney or county council would be a big one if we need to move on.
You guys want to put it
Yeah, we're going into executive session in 10 minutes. Do you want this?
I was gonna see what was the issue.
Okay. So.
Okay, yeah, I can, if you close out, I can come back with special place too.
Can you
CSC.
make sure I can get in all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, I just wanted to make sure I got those updates, because I did not have my,
If your computer was on at any point during the weekend, it should have pulled them.
okay,
If not, it'll pull again on Friday at 5. So,
if it's on.
Yeah.
Okay,
'cause it checks every Friday at 5.
okay.
Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the month. I just want
Are-
did you send in the month? Did you want to send in that executive at all?
Are we having another one today?
Yeah,
Or
it's
just
already
the
on
one?
there.
I think it's just one today.
I only saw them.
I don't know if they're,
I don't know what the other one was for. If you're having the other one, I didn't have it on there.
I don't think that they've discussed.
We have time, so if we need to, let's just do that.
Okay,
Ah.
then yes.
We have 30 minutes. Can I give you this?
Sure.
And then. Might need it.
So not this one?
Not this one.
Yeah.
Welcome. Good.
Seven minutes early, we're all here.
Yeah,
You wanna just do it?
yeah.
Okay. 30 minutes, non-elected.
All of us. I'll move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session at 11:24 a.m. to discuss personal matters of non-elected personnel as allowed by K.S.A. 75-4319B1, and that the purpose of the closed session is to protect the privacy rights of the employee, and the board come out of executive session in 30 minutes in the commission room of the courthouse basement, and those present will be 3 commissioners, finance director, county clerk, and Matthew Rich. Sorry, I didn't have it in front of me.
Okay, I will second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes. 3-0.
Immediately.
Okay, we are back in open session. And with that, we have one more executive session today. Non-elected personnel, commissioners, clerk, and finance director.
I'll move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session at 11:56.
1 hour. Sorry, I didn't say that. I don't know if I said that.
Let's see, 11:56 a.m. to discuss personal matters of non-elected personnel as allowed by K.S.A. 75-4319B1, and that the purpose of the closed session is to protect the privacy rights of the employee, and that the board come out of executive session in 1 hour in the commission room of the courthouse basement, and those present will be 3 commissioners, finance director, and clerk.
I will second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye passes 3-0. Okay, so do we want to extend that for 25 minutes or? We don't, Jesse won't be here till 1:30, so we can pop back in.
Sure.
Yeah, let's extend that for probably 25 minutes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to extend that executive session for 25 minutes, same priorities or parameters.
I'll second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Yeah.
I am.
I never knew why that was a thing, like
Go
why
ahead.
you have to accept it or anything. It's
I
just
know.
weird.
This week. Okay, we are back in open session. And with that, we have a letter that please accept this letter of my formal resignation from my position in Atchison County effective January 2nd, 2026, from our finance director. So I would look for a motion to accept this letter of resignation. Guys, lack of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I'll just say that, this was unexpected and I am gonna miss Mark and his hard work and everything that he's contributed and, but we can appreciate the fact that he's moving on, moving up, and it's a good thing. So I congratulate him on that. So I will move to accept his resignation.
Thank you.
Okay. I know Eric's more hard-headed than I am, so I will second that in the fact that I'm so happy for you. I mean, I have nothing but great. I mean, you're great in everything you've ever done for Atchison County and the commissioners, and this is going to push you to your potential in continuing to grow as a professional, and I'm so happy for you. And I wish you nothing but the best. But yeah, definitely a heavy hit for the county for sure. So thank you for everything, and I appreciate the job that you've done. You've always exceeded expectations. Just an incredible human and asset. So thank you for that. So it's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. I knew it. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
So Eric opposes to your resignation. But we all wish you well and thank you for. Thank
do
you
wanna
for, yeah.
say that we're gonna miss him both as a friend and a treasured member of the county. I think that I'm hoping that we can retain a lot of the things that you've taught us. There's the finances are the things that you've done, and we've tried to think outside of the box. You've been there every step of the way, helping us with that. Hopefully we can keep that going forward. My vote is in symbolism for I think all employees that from the county that we don't want to lose you, but good luck in your next endeavors.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very appreciate it. So all right. There's my agenda. And with that, I would look for a motion to adjourn into workshop.
So moved.
Clarification, we're going to be in workshop when the group is here.
Yeah, Jesse said you don't have to be on. They just want to come visit with us about what we do. And
Okay, I was just
Yep.
clear on
Yep.
what capacity that we were there. So I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye passes 3-0. We are adjourning.